Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Jan Michael here. Now, once in a blue moon, in the world of anime, and for that matter, like video games, movies, just entertainment media overall, you experience something that you didn't expect to experience. Something amazing. It could be beautiful, it could be shocking, it could gut punch you in the best and worst ways. It affects you. It affects you, and when you first see it, you may not even realize what's happening, but you can tell there's something that is different about yourself. These are the experiences in our life that transform us. Especially if we're younger, they may shape us into who we will ultimately become. I mention this for two reasons. First, because I do believe Frieren is one of those experiences that once you finish watching this show, you'll be transformed in some way or form. And second, because Frieren as a whole is a story about life and about experiencing things. And as such, I feel just goes perfectly with the review that I'm about to do. So please sit back and enjoy this review of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. まるでおとぎの話終わり迎えた証長すぎる旅路から君がした一節それはかつてこの地に影を落とした悪を打ち取りし勇者との短い旅の記憶 Frieren was a part of the heroes group that managed to take down the Demon King. It's a journey that took many years to complete, which to others may seem like a long time. But to Frieren, who is an elf and as such can live for centuries, it is barely the blink of an eye. Fast forward 50 years, and the hero she journeyed with is at the end of his life. Frieren, having stayed away all this time, starts to feel regret that she never got to know him or the rest of the party that well during their adventure. Through a series of events, she and a small group set off on another adventure, one that mirrors the one she took all those years ago with the hero and his party, essentially giving us flashbacks to how that adventure unfolded and how it compares to the one she is currently on. Frieren is a story about life, about enjoying what is right there in front of you, because you don't know when it's going to be gone, and you might have regret at not doing something or saying something at the time. But it's also a story about second chances, about how it's never too late to go on another adventure and look at things now with new lenses. It's not a show that's in a rush to get to its ending. It wants to take its time. It wants to stop and smell the roses. It wants to give you life lessons. Though there are still exciting fights in between as well. And if that whole experience sounds boring to you, I'll tell you right now, you have no idea how wrong you are. From afar, I can see how someone could look at Frieren and not think twice about its animation. There's not a lot happening on screen all the time. However, that's exactly what helps the amazing moments stick out all the more. You may have an episode about hunting down a specific type of flower. Alright, flowers look nice, you're in for some pretty visuals, but then you get that amazing reveal and bam, it hits you all the harder. Or there may be a string of episodes that don't have any action in them, when all of a sudden there's dragon fights or spells being cast left and right, and it becomes a feast for the eyes. And when we get to these points, it's almost impossible to say that the animation is anything less than God tier. Now granted, you could maybe look at the more mundane shots and go, yeah, the animation's just fine, it's nothing spectacular, but I really do think that's missing the whole point of the show. The mundane moments are still wonderful to behold and stick with you because you need a show like this to have just plain day-to-day moments where nothing spectacular is happening. And when we do get those over-the-top spectacular scenes, the animation sticks out so much that I guarantee you, if you've seen the show, there are already multiple moments that I'm sure are ingrained into your mind. Frieren definitely does a good job of introducing designs that are easy to remember and stick with you. Whether it's the bright purple aesthetic of Fern, the silly but unique design of Aizen, or the mysterious and dangerous eyes of Ubel, you will easily be able to distinguish each one and find favorites among its vast cast. Even simple designs like the hero Himmel or Frieren herself are easy to remember and are visually pleasing. There's a reason there have been so many cosplays of these characters. More so than any other anime of the year contender, this is the one I've seen the most fan art, cosplay, comics drawn of. The designs are great, as are the characters. And so, why wouldn't we want to become them? I truly can't think of anything negative to say in the character design aspect of the show. I guess if I want to be really nitpicky, there are some designs that are so great that it's a shame they only get very limited screen time, or characters that we'll probably never see again, even though their design is very memorable or their personality is amazing. And I guess if I really, really want to push it, there are some very minute characters that don't have the most appealing designs, but I mean, I would really have to be trying to find something negative to say about it, and so it's completely unfair, it's completely unwarranted. The character designs here are fucking amazing, and most definitely worthy of the nomination. Keiichiro Saito was previously nominated for Bocchi the Rock last year, which wasn't a bad nomination at all. He definitely showed that he understood how to shoot a comedy of that scope in a way to make it truly humorous. I still remember scenes that I found absolutely brilliant in that show, even if I didn't like the overall product as much as others. Frieren is not only another great showcase of his talents, but I think surpasses his work on Bocchi. The presentation that he's done here is something that is going to be studied in the future. Things like the pacing, the way the dialogue flows, the transition that was done from the manga to the anime, and when to expand scenes and when to keep it simple. There's a lot to talk about here, and I'll admit, even with repeat viewings, I don't think I'll ever be able to fully capture every nuance that went into its production, which is why I think Keiichiro's work is absolutely brilliant here. If you haven't guessed yet, I hands down think Keiichiro should go home with the award here. And that's not to diminish the other directors' works, because I also think some of the other nominated directors are giving their best work to date, but it just doesn't compare to what Keiichiro managed to do with Frieren. This could have gone wrong in so many ways. It could have been boring. I mean, do you realize there's episodes that are like A and B plots? Like, you're getting two stories in an episode. It's not one continual fluid motion. And it works, and you don't even realize it sometimes. The dialogue, the pacing, the fight scenes, the choreography, I can't think of anything bad to say about it, and if I did have anything bad, it would be easily overlooked just because of how brilliant those moments are. This is true mastery, and as I said, I think it's going to be studied for anime enthusiasts in the future to how to become masters themselves. And for that, I definitely think this deserves the award to win. Now, if Frieren doesn't win Anime of the Year, which it totally should, but if it doesn't, this one, hands down, needs to go to Keiichiro, because I think he's submitted something into the history of anime that will never be forgotten. Truthfully, I could probably tell you to just go back and see what I said about the animation category and call it a day here. But I want to expand upon why the background art works so well for me. It's all about its world building. All these locations the party goes to, or the places the flashbacks show, all contribute to building its world and giving it a very cohesive feeling. What's more impressive is as the show jumps back and forth between the past journey and the current one, you see how much the locations have changed or not changed. Whatever the time space, it's all very nice to look at, and it's appealing to see. But if that wasn't enough, if you need just one more reason why the background art works so well, here's one that I feel the closest with. Those of you who play video games will know exactly what I'm talking about. But have you ever played a game where you're going on a journey and the first big open area just excites you to an insane degree? Like, that first opening area can make or break an adventure. Like, if you have a real cool place, you're going to want to explore every nook and cranny. You're going to want to go on this adventure, versus if the opening section is fine or mundane, maybe the whole thing is good, but the start of it feels lackluster. That's the difference between going on a journey and then just going on another generic adventure. Everywhere that this party goes to in Frieren elicits that excitement in me. I think of things like the first Xenoblade Chronicles, or I think of Breath of the Wild, or even the newest Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where you have these amazing open areas and you're excited. You're like, yes, I'm ready to go on this adventure. I would love to go on this adventure with Frieren. I want to explore the world. I want to see what it has in store for us. That is why I think the background art works so well, because it creates this atmosphere. It creates very interesting visual places. And yeah, I think it's very much worthy of the nomination here. One of the things Frieren does so well is capturing the day-to-day drama of everyday life. I don't mean in the slaying of dragons or taking of magic exams, but in the interactions with people or the passage of time. There's an episode where you come to understand that Frieren likes to dilly-dally when it comes to life. She has practically all the time in the world, so what's a couple of years to her if she drags her feet from time to time? However, Fern, one of her human companions, has a very limited time span when compared to Frieren, and she understands that she doesn't have that same luxury of dragging her feet. At least, not if she wants to accomplish anything within her lifespan. The way this conversation is brought upon, or the thoughts behind it, aren't one of doom and gloom where one is shaking the other going, you don't understand, I'm gonna die within a certain amount of time. It's a conversation, just like you and I would have, just like I have had with other people. I know that one day I'm gonna die, just like I know my family's gonna die, but these aren't things that we're always like dooming and glooming about. They're conversations. And it's just one conversation in the show. There's others whose spouse has passed away and how they're kind of coping with it, or how they don't change up their day-to-day activity because it's just how they remember them. There's people who regret not taking that extra step forward, like just being content in reaching where they got in their career and regretting that as well. They're conversations, and they're realistic conversations, just in a fantasy setting. And I think that's freaking fantastic, because it's gonna make you think. It's gonna make you think about your own life, which I always appreciate when shows do that. They make me look at my life right now and where I'm currently at on my own journey. I found the character Frieren to be both interesting and dull at the same time. On one hand, she's an elf that has all the time in the world. She's learning how to build connection with those around her, has wisdom to share, is freaking powerful, and has a very sly personality at times. On the other hand, she is very soft-spoken. There are many times when it feels like she doesn't care, and probably doesn't. And apart from the first episode where she actually breaks down and cries, there's very little emotional depth to her. I can completely understand why some may not be too fond of her character arc, or make the argument that she really doesn't grow past the first episode, but I truly don't think that this is correct at all. In fact, she can be overly pouty at points. She has an attitude at points. Yes, she's all powerful, but the way that she's learning from her past mistakes and kind of spreading that wisdom so others don't make the same mistake while still learning herself, because there are moments where it looks like she's about to make the same mistake again, remembers something from the past and changes her mind on it. There is still growth there. And if you excuse the phrase, I think this is exactly what makes her human. And as such, we build this connection with her. It wouldn't be Frieren without Frieren. Duh. Frieren has two supporting characters that claim the nomination here. Let's start off with the hero Himmel, who's freaking great. Granted, you don't see a lot of his faults throughout the show, though I attribute that to Frieren's memories of him. He has so many great standout moments, from the heroic where he's taken down a demon, to the silly where he laments not being the one who gets to see Frieren's undergarments. His pretty boy attitude will get you chuckling at points, and his love of Frieren will make you sad at what could have been. It's a great nomination, and one I completely agree with. However, to me, Fern is definitely the superior nomination here. Not only is she currently traveling with Frieren, so is getting the most experience and growth out of the show, but she is the character that we as an audience are introduced into the world with. Yes, Frieren is the main character and you do get to see her alone for the first start of it, but we don't know the world itself. We're not familiar with the concepts of what's going on. And while Frieren's past definitely introduces a lot of it, I think her interaction with Fern and seeing some of these things for the first time is our gateway, our introduction to it ourselves. Plus, her interactions with Stark are freaking adorable. If there was still a best couples category, which they should totally bring back, I would be nominating for these two in a heartbeat. Alright, look, I'm not so sure about this one. I get that Frieren can have her silly, goofy, and even tragic moments that make you want to give her a hug from time to time, but I don't really think she's a must protect at all costs type of character. She's very wise in a way that makes her feel like she doesn't need protecting. She can be uncaring at points, which sours her personality. Plus, she's freaking powerful as heck, so really doesn't need protecting at all. I know being all powerful doesn't necessarily mean that you don't need protecting, but mixed with everything else that I just said, and I just don't agree with this nomination. It's probably the one nomination that a Frieren just doesn't need. If anything, I'd probably nominate someone like Stark more, who is very down on himself, and you kind of want to boost him up a little bit more just to get that confidence in him back. And when you see his backstory, you do feel more bad for him. So I don't know. I think we could have gone a different route here, so this is one that I'm not convinced needed to be here. Can I first state how upsetting it is that the opening to Frieren didn't get a nomination? I mean, for those who saw my review of Dandadan, where I praised the opening for what it managed to accomplish, I was ready to do the exact same thing for Frieren. So when I realized the opening wasn't even nominated, I was truly baffled. Yosabi has created an excellent song here, and so I'm baffled that it didn't get the nomination for opening. I mean, you're nominated for song but not opening, and you have all those great visuals of the opening that match perfectly with what the story is, and I'm gonna go on an angry side rant if I don't stop. So I'm gonna chill out here. Now, Yosobi, I'm sure I don't have to introduce to you. They're very big. They actually won at the Anime Awards for their song Idol for the anime Oshinoko, which is another great song. Yeah, just go check this one out. This one's amazing. It's on my playlist. I still get excited whenever it comes up. It is definitely worthy of the nomination, and it should have also been nominated for anime opening. I'm fucking pissed about that. Next category, please. Similar to the animation aspects that Frieren is nominated for, I think the score accentuates the entire journey and experience of the show. Whether it's the calming melodies played throughout the regular day-to-day life episodes, or how the beat changes to match the action on screen, composer Evan Call does a spectacular job of capturing exactly what should be conveyed in each scene. It's a little bit harder to show you exactly what I'm talking about without playing sections of the score for you, but if I were to do that without any sort of commentary, I'm then gonna have to fight YouTube and these companies, and I'm gonna save myself the headache and not do that. But if you've been hearing the background music during the review, that is the score for Frieren. That's Evan's score for Frieren. So if you've been enjoying that, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, why this deserves to be nominated, and hey, maybe even go on to win? I'm a little bit torn over Atsume Tanezaki's nomination here, because on the one hand, it's a voice that fits the character perfectly. Like, you see the character Frieren, you hear Atsume's voice, and you go, oh yeah, that's exactly what it needs to be. On the other hand, though, it kind of keeps the same pitch throughout the entirety of the series. It's that wise mentor type of voice that's, I mean, I feel like we've heard before in the past. There's nothing so extraordinary here about it. But again, just because the voice matches the character so spectacularly, I'm okay with the nomination. I may not vote for it for the win, but I do think what they do with the character and the voice just throughout it, keeping it consistent, it doesn't ever change or break who the character is, I think that in itself is very commendable. So I'm okay with the nomination. I just personally wouldn't vote for it for the win. And once again, please don't take this to mean that I have any sort of slight against Atsumi. That couldn't be further from the truth. She actually voiced Anya from Spy Family, and I think that voice is freaking amazing. Like, that voice is also perfect. That one I really, really enjoy. So yeah, this is nothing on her. She's a fantastic voice actress. And again, I'm completely fine with this nomination. I probably even would be voting for it to get the nomination itself. Just for the win, I am looking for something else, and I gotta be truthful to these reviews, so that's what I have for you. I'm a little bit torn on Malady Rodak's nomination here, for exactly the same reason as Atsume's nomination, so let's just cut to the chase here. This is essentially the same thing that I said in my previous section. The voice fits the character perfectly. Like, hearing it in English, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's exactly what I was picturing. Again, it doesn't fluctuate in any sort of way, but the fact that they keep it that way, that it doesn't do any of the anime tropies of going grandiose at any points, again, it's very commendable. So, again, I'm fine with the nomination. Again, I probably would be nominating it for the nomination, but for the win, I don't think I would go that route. However, I will mention, when I showed my wife this anime, we did see the English version of it. I like to see the Japanese first, and then with her the English, so I can get a good sense of both the voices. And she did mention that she did not like the voice at all. So take that for what it's worth. I had no problem with it. I thought it was completely what it needed to be, but the fact that she mentioned that made me think, oh, maybe others might also think that. Again, I don't. It's a good nomination. I just wouldn't vote for the win for it. And now we get to the tough question of, does Frieren Beyond Journey's End have a chance of winning Anime of the Year? Taking a step back and just looking at each show, knowing what the popularity of each show is, I think it's very easy to say, no, it doesn't. This other show's much more popular. That's the one that's going to win. And I completely understand that sentiment. However, what's giving me a slimmer of hope that it could pull off the win is in a story that I'm about to tell you. Now, I have a friend that really likes anime, and while he dabbles in, slice of lives, comedy from time to time, his passion is definitely in action. Like, his eyes glow when there's a great action scene. He starts to talk to you about the action, the moments, and you could tell that that's what he's really into, and he really doesn't have that same glow to him when he's talking about, like, funny moments, slice of life, so whatever the case may be. Like, you'll be entertained, but you could tell his passion is in action. But he will ask me to recommend some anime from time to time, and of course, I said, you gotta watch Frieren. It's amazing. It's one of the best anime of all time. And he kind of heard the premise. He saw a trailer for it, and he says, like, man, I don't think this is gonna be for me. It looks very slow paced. And I thought, well, I'm not gonna push him to do it. I don't want him to watch it and then kind of regret it and it leave a bad taste in your mouth. If he decides to do it later on in the future, cool. We drop the subject. Fast forward a few months later, and out of nowhere, because we're just talking about anime, he says, oh yeah, and I just watched Frieren, and I gotta say, man, thank you so much for suggesting that for me. It blew me away. And as he started talking about it, he didn't have that excitement that was in action. It was a different sort of feel. But the way he talked to me was unlike I've ever heard him talk about anime before. And at the end he said, it's hard to find something new after watching Frieren just because that one left such an impact. And hearing that, I thought to myself, if more people just watch Frieren, if like the people who just love action, maybe don't experiment with other types of genres, if they sit down and watch Frieren, if they get people to push them to watch Frieren or recommend it in some way or form, I think Frieren has the potential to truly encapsulate everyone. And again, like I said at the very beginning of the review, this is an experience. It's a once in a blue moon type of experience that you feel changed once you've watched it. There's something, maybe you don't even know what it is right away, but your mind lingers with it. I think Frieren has a shot of winning Anime of the Year. I would place it right now in second place. It's either going to be this or one other, which I'll get to when we go through our full predictions, although, you probably know what it is that I'm talking about. But just for that story alone, I do think there's a chance of it winning, and as of right now, I got all my fingers crossed because I think this would be one of the all-time best wins. We're only on like the 9th Anime Awards, so what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? But, you know, years and years and years from now, when people start to rank these, this is definitely going to be towards the top of the list. So, as you might have guessed, I think the show is absolutely fantastic. It's masterful, and as such, I give Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, a 5 out of 5, with a very strong recommendation to buy it. Trust me, you'll want to take this journey over and over again. It's a story that will mean different things to you as you grow older, and I can see many wanting to share that experience with those around them. I know I already have, and I'm going to continue to do so. What a journey. This is one that makes me feel very melancholy afterwards. Like, you just had such an amazing experience that, like my friend put it perfectly, like it's hard to see other things and just not have that same experience hit you anymore. You feel it. That's not to say you can't enjoy others. I'm still watching anime and there's shows that I'm still enjoying, but this one definitely hit different. I think it's definitely going to be set in the same breath as other masterful shows like Cowboy Bebop, like Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood included. Just shows that really touch people, that they're remembered fondly and will continue to be discovered and loved for many years to come. So it's gonna be tough to beat this one in my eyes, but we've got 2 more shows to go through, so come back tomorrow and see how those ones do. Until then, everybody, like always, stay safe out there and have a good one.